Shalom. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, Bashem Bakakadash. Double unto the apostles and the elders of great most honorable while. Shalom to the brothers doing the work, sharing truth. This article on Yahoo Finance from Bloomberg says what Yellen signals interest in backing digital dollar research. So it says Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen signaled the Biden administration supports research into the viability of a digital dollar, a shift from the lack of enthusiasm shown for the concept under her predecessor, Stephen Mnuchin. It makes sense for central banks to be looking at issuing sovereign digital currencies, Yellen said at a virtual conference on Monday hosted by the New York Times. She said a digital version of the dollar would help address hurdles to financial inclusion in the US among low-income households. Too many Americans don't have access to easy payment systems and banking accounts, and I think this is something that a digital dollar, a central bank digital currency, could help with, she said. It could result in faster, safer, and cheaper payments, which I think are important goals. So funny, it says low-income households, and that's just straight being aimed at Jake. So then they, when that mark comes out, that chip, that RFID chip, that implantable chip comes out, then they'll just be like, oh, okay, well, for what do you call it? When that chip comes out, then they'll say, oh well, you this for people that are, disenfranchised or whatever on the outskirts, in the slums. They'll be like, look, you get this. It's a way for you to manage or for you to receive a subsidy or something. It's building that case, because the same thing they did with the jab, where it's like you kind of had it at the start of the lockdown and whatnot. Then they mentioned like, oh, okay, blacks and Hispanics are most at risk. Then when it comes to dishing it out, then they're saying, okay, the same thing. These guys are the ones that need the focus. So it says, it could result in faster, safer, and cheaper payments, which I think are important goals. A number of central banks, including the US Federal Reserve, have been conducting research into how digital versions of their own currency would work. Officials generally see both opportunity and risks, and many central banks have moved slowly to embrace the idea. To embrace the idea, while China has proceeded with pilot program tests of digital yuan. Yeah, so China jumps on that shit quicker. But what Russia's looking into it. Well, basically, you've just had crypto booming, so now a lot of people, a lot of countries looking to get into it. It's basically pushing that vibe, pushing towards that virtual currency, that digital currency, which lines up with what that mark. Once you got an implanted chip, then it's all the details. Everything's gonna be on that chip. Everything's gonna be on that chip. Whether it's what's the term I'm looking for? Medical information, monetarily, social security number or NI number, all these different things, all gonna be on there. So it says this Treasury endorsement. This is the most forward-leaning a Treasury Secretary has ever been in endorsing a digital dollar. John Lipsky, director of the Atlantic Council of Geoeconomic Center, said of Yellen's comments Monday, I read it as an endorsement for the Treasury to be involved in the exploration of central bank digital currencies, and we hadn't seen that before. The U.S. Central Bank announced last year that staff members at the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston were conducting research in conjunction with the MIT Media Lab in Cambridge, Massachusetts, seeking to construct and test a hypothetical digital dollar. Some lawmakers have expressed interest. Senate Banking Committee Chair Sherrod Brown, an Ohio Democrat, has advocated using digital technology to help reduce costs for accessing and transferring money, especially those outside the traditional banking system. Bitcoin, for its part, is championed by its supporters as essentially a separate financial system, independent from the control of central banks and any potential state-sponsored digital currency. Yeah, so it's like that's meant to be the draw. That's part of what's going to get everyone on it. But the main ways you're really going to see that uptake is when when it's integrated into Esau's system, where he's basically utilizing that as a backbone, you know, dealing with like his big, big consumer conglomerate companies like Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, where they just have big company that spans a huge bunch of areas and it's all linked up, it's all connected. Your details are going to be shared about all these different things, just like with a Google account, where they'll track what you search on Google, what you search on YouTube, what you've watched, all these different things, what ads you click on, what stuff you have interest in, so they can specialize what ads you see. Even shit will listen to your phone, and then what the shit you're talking about when you're near your phone, then you'll get targeted shit for that. So this is all basically linking it in to that one universal system, which is that's where Esau's going, man. Okay. So even so, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has stressed it's more important for the U.S. as keeper of the world's most popular reserve currency to be right rather than first on this front. Yellen echoed that saying officials must first address a number of issues, including how digital currency might affect traditional bank deposits, financial stability, consumer protection, and illicit transactions. So yeah, they're gonna, it's gonna be sold as, safety, as a way of, getting people involved in this. It's like, okay, if you don't want a bank account or blah blah blah, then maybe this is the alternative. It's gonna be sold. There's gonna be positives that are gonna be they're gonna be claimed as positives. To get in the mark, man, to get integrated into that system. Just so you got now with the jab. These things are going to be pushed, going to be marketed. You're going to have celebrities and whatnot getting it and saying, oh, it's so great, it's so futuristic. Just like, with them brain chips, all these things, they got a market behind it to make people jump on it, man. But this is what Yellen's predecessor was calling the idea. In 2018, he said the Fed and Treasury we're studying the pros and cons of digital dollars, but we don't think there's any need for that at this point. Yeah, now it's basically done a 180. So, boy, it's looking like they're looking to get in. So that digital dollar, it's leading towards, man. Because that's the thing, for that chip to work, it's all that electronic, which when you deal with banks more or less now, people already in that kind of system, man, because people are already got used to using devices, mainly their phone, maybe like a watch, a smart watch, or contactless card payments. All these things, this is just how people are used to fucking with shit. That's become especially when you deal with the metropolises, the cities, the big cities, where they have all that technology. They're basically taking it on board and they promote it. That's how people got used to doing shit, man. There's people, it's like, when I'm at work, there's like, I don't have my I don't even have my wallet or my purse with me. They're just looking to pay with their phone. If their phone's messing about, they're just like, I don't even have, ain't no one's really fucking around with cash. A lot of places aren't even taking cash. When you deal with like London, in London, there's certain parts of the city where you'll just get like places, especially with like the newer like smaller businesses, they might just take card payments, just cause it's only really like corner shops, stuff that's less more off the books, or maybe food places that will take cash. But otherwise, it's like a lot of shops will be card only. So okay, Psalms 64 and 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Because these things are set up by what? The international bankers. And these guys have had, control of the monetary angles of societies of various countries, of pretty much all the countries, man, through the IMF. And how they operate, how they function. And what these guys have basically implemented that financial slavery upon, the whole earth, man. Everyone out here is a debt slave, and now they're what these things are done, behind closed doors. These guys get together, they make their plans. They've got these illuminated ones. These guys, they have their secret societies, and they get together and they've execute on these plans. And well, okay. 3 verse 3, who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Yeah, they're shooting in secret at the perfect. These plans they're making, all these things that they put together in the dark, that they execute, it's aimed at what? At Jake, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. These guys are the ones that are getting that concentration. These are ones that are getting focused on. And really, it's like, other everyone else is like that collateral damage. But what these elites know is Jake. Jake rises up. The house of David gets built up. They're done. They're done for. They're toast. And they're seeing that, which is why these guys they're getting afraid. They're trying to shut down every account, taking down videos, and they're what you can see they're pushing their plans forward, man. So it says what they encourage themselves. Verse 5, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? Yeah, these guys are doing things privately. That's why it's like people are looking, looking to the jab, and they're going to look towards a mark. They're thinking of it like, oh, this is coming, this is going to save everything. The whole, it's like you consider since like last year, May, they kind of just shut down and just absolutely destroyed a bunch of businesses, like have basically been put in a situation where they're completely unable to survive. And it's just like a whole lot of the middle class has just been wiped off the face of the earth. These guys have been, just been Thanos snapped away. But what, and now it's coming, that jab's coming out, and it's like, okay, this is going to save everything. Everyone go back to normal. It's going to be great. But when you deal with how this whole thing went down, there wasn't even a need for the lockdown. It's like the whole approach is more about introducing, control. Esau gaining control and power through it, rather than actually dealing with the situation at hand. Because anyway, it's these things. Esau deals with biological weapons. The Center for Disease Control is called what? The CDC is called the Center for Disease Control. So it's about control over these elements. That's why they have. I remember the end of, what the fuck is that film called? Contagion. The end of Contagion. It shows these guys had a bunch of different diseases, deadly diseases, frozen and and basically in frozen in ice, man, stored. Why is Esau researching and storing these things? you know, they're used to be utilized, man. Things are there to be utilized. But like I said, these things are done in the dark. It says they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. Yeah, these guys, they've accomplished that diligent search. They've done their research. That's why the way these guys execute these plans is meticulous, man. The general public, these guys have been lulled to sleep, man. They've had that darkness cast over them, so they ain't able to see what the hell's going on. No. Six. Oh no, I was thinking of. No, let me just do Isaiah 60. Because that's more general. Isaiah 16:2. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but Yahweh shall rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Yeah, so these things have been done in the dark. Yeah. Oh, servants. Okay. Okay. What was I just reading? Oh, Isaiah 60. Let me read it again. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness of people, but Yahweh shall rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Yeah, so the general populace in the world, these things that are happening, they're just looking like, oh well, you know, it's just unfortunate. These guys, their spiritual discernment's not there for them to be able to put these things together. You got a few people, and a lot of them are them Bible belters in the States. These guys will kind of, watch, observe, put these things together. But by and large, the general populace, these guys are zombies and drones that are just following after the governments, the rulers, the leaders of Esau. They'll just follow after. They'll just do whatever they say. They'll just be like, okay, cool, safe. Amos 3:7 says, surely Yahweh Hashem Yahshua will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. Yeah, so these things are revealed to the prophets, man. I can't even read verse 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and Yahweh hath not done it? Yeah, so whenever these things that are being ready to be done, the people getting ready to be fucked up, time of Jacob's trouble, all kinds of madness, famine, death and destruction, further calamities than like that cold snap in Texas. You're gonna have worse things, man. Basically, the Lord's gonna be getting it in, man. It's the seal's gonna be off, the floodgates gonna be open. Because why? It's that final grand judgment, man. So he's gonna be getting in. It says what? And surely Yahweh Hashem Yahshua will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants and prophets. So yeah, unto the prophets, these are the ones that the Lord's basically put the spirit on to reveal, man. He's got his men out there. He puts the spirit on them to bring out that truth. And then what? They're saying it before. That's what it means to be a prophet, to say before. That's the warning going out, man. That warning is only going to be heeded by Yahweh Shai's sheep, man. Like he said, he's sheep Harry's voice. So they're gonna be the ones to to heed it, to take the warning. But yeah, everyone else, they're just gonna be taken out there, man. They're gonna get that mark and they're gonna be destroyed, man. 2/3 of Jake, they're gonna, even if they heard a word, they've been blinded and deafened, man. They're gonna take the mark and be destroyed, man. But yeah, these things are getting pushed out, man. These prophecies going out there. Shalom. Shalom.